Good morning and welcome back to CityLine. With me in the house, I have two fabulous, big-hearted, and hard-working individuals. We're here to talk about the Veterans Resource Fair. And you know how I feel about our veterans. We cannot thank them enough for what they have done and what they currently do for our great nation. So please join me in welcoming back Shawn Durnen. You are the director of the Veterans Resource Fair. It's good to see you again.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
You and I were talking about in the green room. We see each other at the most obscure, odd places all the time.
Always.
I know. It's like, what are you doing here? How do you know these people? It's great. And it's what makes Tacoma so fabulous like that.
Truly.
It does. You brought with you this wonderful man, Mr. Tony Dayton.
Hello.
Hello, Tony. Welcome to CityLine.
Oh, thank you.
You are the project coordinator for this wonderful Veterans Resource Fair. I'm so glad you could make it today because you've got a lot on your plate right now.
Yes, ma'am.
There are a lot of things you could be doing besides sitting on the comfy couch, so thank you so much. So, Shawn, let's talk about how many years have you been doing this?
So this will be our 7th year.
Oh my gosh, now that's a huge milestone because usually at a 5-year event or a 5-year mark, we go, whew, we made it.
Right.
But then you got to get that second win to keep going. So at 7 years, you're on it. You're headed to that 10-year mark, which is impressive. So how many veterans have you served in the time that you've been doing this event, do you think?
I'm going to shoot for about 17,000 veterans and their family members.
Oh my gosh, that is impressive. And it continues to build, doesn't it?
It does. Each year brings us new challenges, new trends, new issues in the community, if you will. So each year is different. And when we talk to the community about this, you know, it's addressing new populations that are birthing themselves within that already pre-existing veteran population. So it's no two problems are similar, no two issues are the same, and no one service is handled in the same fashion. So it's mind-blowing, and it's humbling for us to see where we went from year one with 25 providers to over 200 plus providers and thousands of veterans and their family members who come to this event. It's just like, wow, we really, this is really happening.
I can't get this smile off my face. And I'm looking at Tony, he has that same smile because I'm just going to say it. Nothing says community, love, and hope more than hearing that you had 25 providers and now what you have now.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want to say this, is that there are things that we all have in common. We all know someone who's fighting cancer. We all know somebody who's been affected by HIV or AIDS. And all of us know somebody, if not have somebody in our family who is a veteran. And it's those areas that we really have come together to really say we are more alike than we are different. And this Veterans Resource Fair is the epitome of this. For you, Tony, what makes this event stand out from other events that you think about?
Well, when I think about it, it's not just a stand down, right? We're inviting all veterans, all active duty, everybody that's transitioning. I mean, there's every option is there. Like, you walk in there, and I try to label myself as the guy who just, if you got a question and you're a veteran, I probably have the answer. And that place is why I have the answer, right? So you walk in there and everything is there, whether it's recreation, employment, benefits, paperwork that you can't seem to get.
Yes.
You know, everything, you know.
Yes.
So
It's one-stop shop, isn't it?
and one stop.
And the relationships that are made out of this event and the resources, they continue long after the event is over.
Absolutely.
And that's where that community gets built. Shawn, what marks this event as a success in your mind?
So, you know, Tony and I were talking about this earlier, and it's funny, but being able to just serve one person, make one impact. The goal is to have a day where we can come in and no one shows up. Everyone has the resources. Everyone has all the answers. And people are like, well, won't you work yourself out of a position? And I'm like,
I hope so.
I hope, yeah, absolutely. That would be amazing.
Wouldn't it, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. And so, speaking of that, how have you kept this a private by Veteran for Veteran event all these years? Because I'm sure that as this event has grown, you have opportunities to have what we call mission drift, where your head gets turned and you're like, well, maybe we should include this. How do you stay true to that?
When we started this, and it dates back to my predecessors, Tina Medina, Scott Pondelick, but it's a unified labor of love. And the idea is to be able to maintain that concept by focusing on the needs of the community. And when we talk about the concept of full circle, a lot of the people who are engaged with this event are products of this event,
Yes.
including myself. I mean, I got involved originally 6-7 years ago because I was a chronically homeless veteran and I was fighting my own issues. And so the idea behind this is not to turn it into a manufactured event, but to create that environment, that culture of competency, to engage our brothers, our sisters, their families in uniform and say, you know, we're here, we understand your plight. This is a peer-based labor of love, because at the end of the day, we don't want you to feel like someone's just giving you a generic answer. We want you to feel part of a process to help others move forward.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And the fact that you were a chronically homeless vet just breaks my heart, but I also beam with pride as I look at you.
Yes.
And go, wow. So what should veterans expect when attending this fair, Tony?
Oh, so you walk in the door, right? And it's just a massive room, right? It's a massive room, and there's tables everywhere, and there's people behind the tables everywhere. And we've got it labeled, like you can walk through. Typically, we like to have a guide that kind of walks through and shows you, like, this area is for legal services, this area is for VA benefits, and you can just walk from table to table to table and communicate, and everybody's going to be engaging and trying to show you what they're about and talk to you about it. So I mean, it's huge, you know. And then you got in the corner, you got people getting haircuts, you got people getting seen by dental, you got gear, tons and tons of gear sitting in another corner where they can get everything they need, the necessities they need that we would have if we were in the field.
I love that. Because that is, I mean, that's huge. I mean, for me, I was telling my wife that my dad, when he exited out of the Vietnam War, my dad got 4 hours of transition training, and that was it. Okay. And I'm not going to go into what that did to our family, but you know what happened to our family. There was no way my father could handle all that. And we are so much better at that now, but we can still do better, because it doesn't end when their service ends. That's where their life begins, in a different way, and we have to do everything we can do to repay them, to thank them, and to honor them, and to educate them into this new life that they're having. So, Tony, think about one story and share with us a labor of love story.
So I think the one that I think of is this veteran had a diabetic crash at the event last year. And he, after the EMTs came and got his sugar levels up, he kind of followed me around the whole event. And you know, you got to understand something about homelessness is not everybody's ready to come out of it, right? So at the end of the event, after he's gotten his field gear and everything to go back to the streets and stuff like that, I gave him a ride down to where he had to get to, and he left a little American flag inside my business card, and on the back of it he wrote, "Thank you for giving me hope today." And it was just amazing. And I tried to reach out to that vet a couple times after that, but he just wasn't ready. Yeah. But when they are, they know where to go. So
that's right, when they're ready.
Yeah,
I love that. Where do you see this event going in years to come?
So each year we again, sticking with the trends of what's going on in the veteran community, military community, it's evolving, it's growing, it's expanding. It's, again, our reach started with 25 providers in one county. At the time it was King County, and now it's expanded to over 200 providers coming from Portland, coming from Eastern Washington, Western Washington, Southern Washington, all points of that. And then also we have providers coming out of Montana, Utah, all these different places who are like, wow, you guys are really doing this. You guys are really leading the way. And then actually getting requests on a consistent basis. Can you bring that to our town?
Yes.
Can you do this? And I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about it. Because again, the expansion is something as simple as showers that we're offering at the fair, or food, or as Tony said, gear, so we can support basic needs.
Or how do you even get through paperwork, which is so hard.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So I mean, it ties in that overall concept and building that labor of love.
Now you keep both of you keep your eyes on what the heart needs, and then you'd continue to have this event reflect that. So who do we need to thank and recognize for the success of this event today in this last few minutes?
There's a couple people, and I'm sure Tony can talk to this
Yeah.
as well. But Pierce County definitely has been extremely supportive of the development of this event. The current administration for the city of Tacoma, again, a couple years ago it was a lot different, but now everyone from the mayor down has been extremely supportive this year round, and just seeing a whole different movement coming from them.
That's right.
Which is really appreciated. Our different providers, again, the Veterans Lending Group, we have Humana, which is one of our biggest sponsors.
Oh, yeah, Humana.
Tacoma Power and Utilities. I mean, there's just a laundry list.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
last 30 seconds, who do you want to add there, Mr.
I mean, there was DAV signed up this year, right?
Yeah.
And then in National Alliance to End Veteran Suicide, we have, oh geez, and the list goes on.
I want to say anybody who's touched this and made this work.
Yes.
Well, Catholic Community Services.
There we go.
That's
Okay.
And WA serves, absolutely.
I want to thank both of you for continuing to light the torch and to light the way out of the darkness, and continuing to instill honor and dignity to our vets that we can never repay, for putting their life on the line for people they don't even know. So I want to thank both of you too for your service, and I want to have you back here again and have you talk about what more you need as we move on to the next year's event. How's that? Deal?
That's a deal.
All right. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Raphael, are you ready for some smooth tunes? All right. Here we go. Take it out.